Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about a critical aspect of API development, authentication and security. Whether you are building your own API or working with third-party APIs, securing your API endpoint is essential to protect data and prevent unauthorized access. So let's dive right into it. First, why API security is important? APIs are the backbone of modern web mobile applications. They often handle sensitive data like user credentials, payment information, and personal details. Without proper security, your API can become a target for hackers, leading to data breaches and unauthorized access. In this video, we will explore key methods to secure your APIs, starting with authentication methods and moving to authorization and other security best practices. First, what is the difference between authentication and authorization? Before we jump into specific methods, let's clarify this one. Authentication is about verifying the identity of the user. In other words, are you who you say you are? Authorization happens after authentication and determines what actions you are allowed to perform. Do you have the permission to access certain resources? These two processes work together to secure your API. First, let's talk about common authentication methods. The first thing, API keys. The simplest form of API authentication using API keys. There are unique keys that the client sends with every request. For example, it will be something like that: get user authorization API key, and you put your API key. While API keys are easy to implement, they have their limitations. First, they don't encrypt requests. They don't provide user-specific permissions. They can be vulnerable if leaked. API keys are often used in low-risk scenarios or as a secondary layer for security. Number two is OAuth. OAuth 2.0. A more robust and widely used authentication protocol is OAuth 2.0. OAuth is an open standard that allows third-party apps to access users' data without sharing their credentials. You have likely seen OAuth in actions when you log into a service using your Google or Facebook account. So how it works? First, the user logs in and consents to share their data with third-party app. Second, the app gets an access token from the authorization server. And third, the app uses this token to request data from the API. So tokens have an expiration time, and they can be refreshed. Like you can add a layer of security. Number three, JSON Web Tokens, JWT, JSON Web Token. And it's another popular choice. We're using JSON Web Token. JSON Web Token is an open standard that securely transmits data between two parties. In this method, the server issues a token upon successful authentication. The client sends the token in the authorization header for every subsequent request. It will be something like that, like you put peer authorization peer and you put your GW token. GW token are self-contained, meaning they include the necessary information to authenticate a user, like their ID, role, and permission. One of the benefits of it is that JSON Web Tokens are stateless. The server doesn't need to store session information. Okay, let's talk about no, the second thing, which is to secure transmissions using HTTPS. No matter what authentication method you are using, always make your API uses HTTPS. HTTPS encrypts the data transmitted between the client and the server, ensuring that sensitive information like passwords or tokens can't be intercepted by attackers. Never send API keys, tokens, or credentials over insecure HTTP connection. Next, we want to talk about the role-based access control and permissions. So now that you have authenticated users, the next step is controlling what they can do. This is where rule-based access control comes in. The rule-based access control allows you to assign specific rules to users and limit what they can access in the API based on those rules. For example, a rule might have the access, like a user rule might have access to their data, like get me, and admin rule have access to manage other users, like get this specific user. So using tools like JW token or JSON Web Token, you can embed their user's rule in the token and check permissions on the server before processing a request. Next, rate limiting and throttling. Another key part of securing your API is implementing rate limiting and throttling. Rate limiting prevents users or clients from overwhelming your API with too many requests in short amount of time. For example, you could limit clients to 100 requests per minute. If they exceeded this limit, they receive 402 or 420 or 429, which is too many request error. This not only helps prevent abuse, but also protects your server resources from being overused. Next, logging and monitoring. Proper logging and monitoring are essential for detecting security breaches and identifying suspicious behavior in real time. Logging all failed authentication attempts, monitor traffic patterns to spot abnormal activity. You can use monitoring tools like Sentry, Datalog, or New Relic to stay on top of potential security threats and errors. So, next, we need to avoid common security vulnerabilities. Sorry, my English sometimes is not that good. So, lastly, here are some common security vulnerabilities you should always guard against. First, injection attacks. Never trust user input. Always validate and sanitize inputs to prevent SQL injection or command injection attacks. 2. Cross-site scripting. When using APIs with web apps, make sure to escape any user-generated content to avoid XSS attacks. 3. Cross-site request forgery. Implement CSRF, which is cross-site request forgery protection to prevent unauthorized actions on behalf of authenticated users. So, in conclusion, here are the key methods to secure your APIs. Use strong authentication methods like OAuth or JSON Web Token. Always use HTTPS for securing communication. Implement rule-based access rule. Use rate limiting and to prevent abuse. Log and monitor traffic for unusual behavior. Securing your API is essential for protecting both your users and your application from potential attackers. So, if you found this video helpful, give me the thumbs up and Don't forget to subscribe for me for more content on APIs and software development. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or what topics you would like to see next. See you in next videos.